Hey beautiful people, I have been trying to record this video forever. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm so distracted. To my defense, there's a lot to be distracted by. I went back to work and it's hard to get back into a normal routine when life doesn't really feel normal to you right now. But that being said, I wanted to jump in here. I don't like to create these spaces in between Bible time because the book that I'm using for my devotional is called Bible in 52 Weeks. Someone had asked, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that today. But it's jumping around from story to story, and if I go too far ahead, I've kind of moved on from the message of that particular chapter, and I don't want you guys to miss this because this has really been a good experience. Now the getting up at 4:30 in the morning is really weird because I want to be obedient to God and I want to get up and I want to do this Bible study. But let me tell you, I'm coming home like 6 o'clock and I am knocked out on the couch. No lie. I could not believe, and I'm almost ashamed to admit this. I'm ashamed to admit this, but I'm just going to say it. I woke up this morning. I still have my coat on. Like, I was like, yeah, you need some energy management. So here's my takeaway from that. Don't make decisions when you're exhausted. Don't talk to people when you're exhausted. I drive when I'm exhausted every day. I got to go to work. But yeah, hit pause. That's why I love that movie Inside Out, because you never know which emotion you're managing at which time. And we know that in Inside Out, she was going through adolescence and we saw her as a child, but there is no inside out like when you're going through menopause. And that is not cute, people. It's not cute. But here's a PSA. I do HRTs, which I like to advertise because women are not talking about this. Like, I love that Demi Moore is talking about this. I love that Halle Berry is talking about this. It's not like our grandmothers who are like, just, sitting we were all y'all thought those people was catching the spirit. They used to sit in church with those Baptist fans just waving and rocking back and forth. People, we do not have to wave fans and rock back and forth anymore. We have hormone replacement therapy, okay? That means all of that. Come on now. If you could get a visual of these grandmothers who used to be in church with those fans just going, okay? So, long story short, I'm very lucky I don't have to wave the fan, and I'm sure that the people in my household are glad that my air conditioner is no longer set to freezing. Like, I used to keep my air conditioning on to like 60, 62. Really 68, but if I could put it on 60, I would. But we can't afford to drop down to that 60, but 68. And that's in the wintertime, people. I'm not talking about in the blazing summer. I'm talking about in the wintertime my air conditioner was on. So I have since been delivered from that. So that's great. But back to Bible story time. And I want to say today's topic is about timing. Timing is a big issue for me. I'm good about a lot of things, but I'm not good about timing. Things come out my mouth when they shouldn't come out my mouth. I have bad timing for like saying things. I have bad time. You know how people say you have perfect timing? That doesn't always happen to me. I'm not a good timing girl. But anyway, we'll get to that. But today's story, before I get into today's story, I want to just talk about something I read prior to our topic today. And this is when Jesus went into the wilderness and he was tempted of the devil, right? We talked a lot about the children of Israel being in the desert for 40 years for their disobedience. But I really want you to sit with what I'm going to say next, the next thing that comes out of my mouth. And that is, you do not always have to be disobedient to find yourself in a wilderness. You don't have to be in sin. You don't have to be failing in some area of your life to find yourself in the wilderness. In fact, you could be in the wilderness when everything is awesome and amazing. Like when things are just going perfect, you can find yourself in the wilderness. And I'll use this, and it ties into what we're going to talk about today. When I was doing my master's degree, I hate to refer to things as luck, but I'm going to say I wasn't fortunate to get into one of those accelerated programs. So my friends were getting their master's degrees like in 3 years, 2 years. Your girl was in her master's program for 5 years. Like, no joke. Like, I had enough credits by the time I finished my master's program for Baltimore County. I had enough credits to have a master's plus 30. Now, HOCO is different. They different, period. I have to close my mouth, because I do work for them, so I try to restrain my opinions. I love the kids, though. I love those kids. I love those kids. Thank you. That's why I keep going back every day. And I like my school. I just mentioned to my boss the other day that I'm getting used to my school. Nothing's perfect. But I do have a nice little rhythm, and pray for me, you guys, because I stepped out in faith and I applied for a promotion. I wasn't like super confident, but I was like, one, more than enough to get you started in this position, right? And two, lesser people have applied. I'm just saying, lesser people have applied. So I'm really excited. It's for instructional team leader. I am a special educator now, so that's my area of expertise. And this just kind of aligns with my skill set. So I tend not to venture out. Like, I have no desire to be a principal. I have had people approach me about going into leadership cohort, about becoming a principal. I just don't want that much responsibility in my life right now. Like, I have raised 6 children who are doing very well in the name of Jesus, right? Who are doing very well. I don't know that I want to give that kind of time. Like, I was talking to my therapist, because I tell you guys I see a therapist, and we kind of like hatch out timelines. Because for me, I'm telling you, I have an issue with time. Time is and it's not because I'm going to be double nickels, because, oh yes, I'm going to be double nickels, y'all. But we're not going to talk about that. But I have an issue with time. Like, I have and I think it comes from childhood. Like, I used to wait for my dad to come home, and I used to always be in this situation of waiting. Like, I grew up in New York City. New York City. I'm talking about the one train. Nobody I knew had a car. Like, we all hopped the train, we all took the bus. You got places how you got places. But when I became a teenager, people would invite me to these house parties. Well, here's the thing. When your girl meets somebody and they want to leave the party without you, and they want to go off with this new boo they found that they're in love with, they know for 24 hours. No, 25 minutes. Well, I used to get left at these parties. So I decided what I didn't want to do is take that train by myself at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because, the rats in New York City hit different. They hit different, right? So I decided I'm going to learn how to drive so that I can book it up out of here no matter what time I left home. Now, mind you, it's not easy learning how to drive in New York City. You got to parallel park. You have to drive under the L. The L's not easy. Let me just say, there were a lot of mirrors, side view mirrors, that were no longer attached to the car by the time I finished learning how to drive. But I made it. I'm here to testify. I got my driver's license. I took my driver's ed test in Castle Hill in the Bronx. Lady told me to make a left. I made a right. Lady told me park the car, hit the curb. Now, hitting the curb should be an automatic fail. But here's what homegirl told me. I know it's ancient history now, but I still laugh when it tickles me when I think about it. She says to me, by all accounts, you failed this driver's test. But you know what? I'm going to give you your license today, so I do not have to go through this with you again, because you strike me as the type of person that will come back. And I am. So, long story short, I got my license, moved on with my life. So that was, again, timing. I took a few classes. I didn't want to wait. I was impatient. Took my class pass. So why do I say that to connect this to today's story? I'm just going to take my test. I'm just going to take my chances with this position, and hopefully I will get the position. So, but back to timing. Today's devotional we read, oh gosh, I can't let time go by. If it seems like I record these closer and closer, it's because there's several running stories. Like, there's a story about Job, but I think I'm going to save Job for our next time we get together. And I just highlight these little things I want to bring out to you. But let me go to what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to read it because I don't want to fumble, right? I don't want to fumble this. So while we're waiting on our season of grace and favor, we have to keep in mind that whatever happens is in God's plan. God has allowed it all for a purpose. We have to learn how to accept God's timetable, and we've got to trust that He knows exactly what He is doing. Ecclesiastes 3:9-11 says, "What do people really get for all their hard work? I have seen the burden of God has placed on all of us, yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity into the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. The truth is, we'll never be able to understand the mind of God, and He is infinite in His wisdom, and our minds could never possibly understand His ways. We have no idea what God will do or how He's going to do it. We just have to trust His timing and His plan." So I love this. I love this because I struggle with trusting God. I struggle with trusting not knowing the end of something. And even sometimes I ask all kinds of questions because I just need to know things. That's just who I am. But as we rest in this idea that God's timing is perfect, and I love when He says, God has placed all, let me start again. I have seen the burden that God has placed on all of us. And that is that we have to work, right? We have to work. We have to go to these jobs. We have to, take care of our families. And that's not so much of a burden, but when you put it all together, right? We put it all together. Like I have multiple things going on in my life that I'm trying to manage right now. Multiple relationships, like multiple responsibilities. And they none of them will wait for the other. None of them will wait for the other. So sometimes I know, like even at work or in my personal life, I'm demanding clarity. But that's because I just want to know where I'm putting you on this list, right? But that's my own stuff. And again, like I said, inside out. I wish they would make it inside out for someone in menopause. I really wish they would. It would be hilarious. And if Disney wants to give me the rights, I'll make the movie. I'll make the movie. It'll be hilarious. But yeah, so as I'm reading this, and I'll continue to read it, read the next part to you. If you can just make it through one season, you'll eventually embrace the next. If you can get through the season of lack, God will shift you into a season of overflow. If you can make it through the season of sickness, God will shift you into the season of good health. If you can get through the season of silence, God will shift you into a season of revelation. But you've got to trust God through the season. Don't be discouraged, and by all means do not despair. Recall what Paul wrote in Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary in well-doing. For in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. No matter the season you're in right now, get through it so that you can get to your due season. So going back to my master's program, 5 years, I started my master's program in the thick of things because my kids were the kids that were still home were just hitting adolescence, and I was determined to get these kids across stage. So I was trying to wrap up and work on my degree while I was trying to keep these kids focused and go to their events and make sure that they were, staying locked in. Penelope at the time, she did chorus. We loved it. She just has such a beautiful voice. I hope one day she will invest in that. So she was doing her thing. Cole was kind of figuring out what his world was going to look like because he was, going through so many things emotionally, physically. So I just needed to be that rock, like be steady. But in the meantime, I am doing a full throttle graduate degree. I am in here 5 days a week. I am writing papers on the weekends. I am like wrapping those papers up and then hit me with student teaching, right? Because one thing that's weird, your student teaching comes like at the end of your degree. So that's intense because now you have like an extra component before graduation. And then you also have to take these exams like lawyers or doctors and teachers have to take these praxis and these last tests. And so you're just in full gear. So to me, time became very blurry. Like I just knew deadlines. Like I didn't want to know, what are you doing? What's your purpose? Identify yourself. Next. Life became a checklist, and life still is a checklist. I don't know how to break out of those things. It's so funny. My boss says to me, I'm going to need you not to answer your emails on the weekends, because I answer my emails and my texts like And that's mainly because I am here. I wear headphones. I can hear the ping, and then I go to my phone and I do what I got to do. And I don't like things to catch me by surprise. So with my work email, I am on it. I want to just say this week and last week and the week before, I have been very good at only checking work email Sunday nights. So we're going to not answer that phone call. Sunday nights, I've been doing good with that. And also, I'm trying to master my craft. Like, I really want to be good at this IEP, special education business, because I'm also working on consulting and doing this as I move into retirement. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So I was talking to my therapist. Thank you. I lost my track of thought earlier. I was talking to my therapist, and I said to him, I think I'm going to have some fun, run around, be a kid as an adult. But because I just don't want to go back to school to do my PhD. And I said, maybe I'll wait till I'm in retirement. Like if I do retire 62, 65, that's like on my major things to do right now. Then why can't I just sit home and work on my PhD? And this man says to me, but then if you start at 62, you'll be like 68. Well, I wasn't really thinking like that, and I wasn't really worried about that, but now that you put it that way. So, but I feel like if I do my PhD right now, again, I'm not willing to give up any more time. My oldest child is 37. Some of you watching this video are 37. Like, I have poured all that I am into everything that I've done, right? I mean, my kids will get on here and testify I'm not perfect. They let me know. I am the topic at Thanksgiving. They like to roast me. Sometimes I don't think it's cute anymore. They roast me so bad, but it's okay. So I'm not willing to give up that time. But if you can tarry in this season, you have no idea how God is going to bless you. This is only a season. And I love Pastor Daniel Darius, and there's another pastor, Hart Ramsey, Michael Todd, and they all say, just be careful that your seasons aren't cycles, because cycles we have on repeat. It's like that rinse and repeat cycle. Just make sure that you're not in a cycle. A cycle is way different than a season. A season is purposeful. It has a beginning and an end date, and it moves on. But if you're in this cycle, like marriages are very, very good examples of cycles, when you are just like reliving the same problem over and over again, when there's no solution. Like break the cycle. Either do the work to make that marriage amazing, or get up on out of there. Get on up out of there. Honestly, do everyone a favor, And again, like I said in previous videos, I'm a ride or die chick. Like, I tell you what I mean. I like you, I like you, you like me. We moving on. We do what we got to do. But in this instance, you want to make sure that you're not falling into cycles, and that you are in seasons, because seasons are beautiful. Even the hard seasons leave behind the seeds of lessons that we would not have learned unless we went through that thing. Like my graduate degree was hard, but it left me with a taste in my mouth that I can finish things. I can finish things. My bachelor's degree wasn't easy. It wasn't a walk in the park, but you kind of doing some of the basics. Some of it is like revisiting. I did a focus more on social work in my bachelor's degree. I came into teaching as a transitional career changer. So I ported some of those credits over, but it was a little different. And I really was deeply, I was not infatuated, it's not a good word. I was obsessed with the idea of family life and improving family life for people. That's why I ended up taking that social work degree. But then as a parent with children with special needs, I kind of pivoted and took that special education degree. And that was important too, because it helped me understand the brain, helped me understand myself. So back to this topic. This is only a season that you're going through, whatever it is you're going through. Get something out of this. Don't sit back. I like to tell people, faith without works is dead. Waiting for God to move is not waiting for a bus. You're not stuck at a bus stop waiting for something to come or happen to you. You are still giving every day all you got. You're still throwing everything you have at your career, everything you have at your family. whatever is the priority for you, you're still giving it everything you have. What you're trusting with is that the seeds that you planted, that the ground will be fertile and that they will grow. That is the timing of God. That's what you're trusting God with. Now, like I said, I hear myself as I'm speaking to you because I am not good with waiting. I mean, everybody loves to brag about how they are daddy's girls. I am a daddy's girl, but part of the drawback or part of the, if there's a benefit or the disadvantage, is that I'm a little spoiled. Matter of fact, let me have some coffee. Gotta heat that up. I'm a little spoiled. My dad was like all about me, so yes, so that happens. And so part of what we can do as service to our children is helping them to learn how to wait and to wait productively. We don't wait like we're waiting in an emergency waiting room. We don't wait like we're waiting on a bus. We wait productively. Today, I was really distracted, had a lot on my mind. I spent the first 3 hours, like I went on a walk. A friend of mine at work says, you're right by that park. Like, why don't you get up and walk those trails? Because I was kind of doing the treadmill thing. My building has a beautiful gym. I was doing a treadmill. And he says, get outside. It's better for your brain. It's better for you. And I know this, right? I know this. But so I got up and I walked that trail, and I just walked that trail and I walked that trail. I did 5,000 steps before lunchtime. I was very happy with myself. But more than that, I broke up my routine. I was having a productive wait time. There's some things I'm asking God about in my life. I'm waiting. I'm impatient. I put a little pressure on people around me. Like, I need to know what's going on. Like, I'm that person. But as I'm waiting, I'm productive, right? I can lose 15 pounds while I'm waiting. I can teach myself how to cook a recipe while I'm waiting. And that could be waiting for anything, waiting to hear back from the job, waiting for, a child's relationship to be mended while you're waiting. And listen, come out better on the other side of a thing. When you're productive and you're waiting, you come out better on the other side of a thing. So as I'm reading this, and again, God is waking me up at 4:30 in the morning. It's a challenge. I am, like I said, knocked out. But as I'm reading this, I am gathering little bits and pieces of information for myself. Like, I need to be productive in my waiting. Here's one of the points to ponder. Understanding that there are various seasons of life, what is the most difficult to accept about the hard seasons? Second question, how have you handled your hard seasons in the past? And 3, going forward, what will you do differently when your seasons begin to change? Well, for me, what I decided to do is I decided to do this productivity thing. I've made major life changes when I decided to have my surgery. And they give you all this counsel. You go to therapists and like, we want you to understand that you're not going to be like 16 again because you had the surgery. It's not going to magically heal you. You're not going to wake up and be like, a size 1. But they want you to realistically understand. So for me, that was about saving my life. But it was not a quick fix. People think, oh, she had surgery. No, it's not a quick fix. Your whole brain goes into spasm over this new way. Everything I do, I have to be conscious that my body is not, I can't eat certain things. I can't do certain things. We're not supposed to drink and eat at the same time. It's like a constant self-awareness and management that you do, right? That's not a season for me. This is going to be the body I live in for the rest of my life. But that productiveness helps me approach these things in a way that's healthy, and that helps me. I hope this helps someone. I get on here, I ramble, and I'm thinking if something that I've said is helping you, I just want to be that person. So again, I will post the scriptures that come with this section of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is very much about things that just don't make sense, right? They just don't make sense, but some way, somehow, God is in them. I know that the scripture says, I've been young and now I'm old and I've never seen the righteous forsaken or begging for bread, right? Like these are, even if you're not a Christian, right? Because I know there's a lot of people right now contending with, I'm not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it, what's going on in the world right now. and they're not feeling very spiritual. They're not feeling like they feel like where is God right now. But if you get into this book, I'm telling you, it's life changing. It's life changing. You will be able to grab a hold of a word. I wrap my whole self into it. Okay, I wrap my whole self into it. And unlike what you believe, like you would think that you'd be so inflexible and then you'd be so religious. No, when you really get into the Word of God for yourself, you find freedom. The Bible says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Because you recognize that you serve a God who was human, who understands all the things it means to be human, and He's very compassionate about your humanness. You know, and I said that in one of my comments earlier this week. I said, you know, we couldn't keep the law. We couldn't balance the scales. So Christ had to come to stand in the gap for us. And you know something? We still live in a body. We are still subject to the laws of gravity. We are subject to all of the, you know, I said to someone, oh, it's really been a really long day for me. And I tell you, I get a little nerdy sometimes. And I'm like, oh, but you know, Einstein said time is relevant. We're all experiencing time different. What might seem like a few hours to you may seem like a lifetime to me, and vice versa. So Friday felt very long to me, but my coworker was like, I don't know. I felt like this week kind of flew by. For me, it felt like the week was dragging. So, you know, Einstein says time is relevant. We're all experiencing time in a different way. But what I want to leave with you is be productive in that time, however you're experiencing it. And ride out this season. If it's great, enjoy every minute, because you know they say if you're not in a storm, you're either coming out of one or going into one. You know, so enjoy it, but embrace the season that you're in right now. Get the lessons, move on with your life, and do what God's calling you to do. I hope this is helpful. That's all I got. I was a little distracted. I went to record 100 times. I wasn't even clear on what I was going to say, because when I let a lot of time go by, like this is how much I've read since we've been, like, all of these stories. So I've read a lot, and I kind of lose track of what I want to tell you. We'll try to jot some notes down for our next time together. But in the meantime, be blessed. I'm praying for you. I'm praying, Lord, just cover everyone who's hearing this video right now in the name of Jesus. Lord, cover me, Lord. Be still. I have to tell my heart, Lord, to be still, be still, be still. Be still and know that I am God. This is what I've been sharing with myself for the last couple of weeks with everything going on, to just be still and know that He's God. Be blessed, everybody, until we meet again. Bye now. Have a good night.